Okay, for page 3, this is where I'm really going to be kind of using the ideas in the flowchart to help solve these problems. And I kind of have to have the flowchart internalized at this point so I can just figure it out. So I'm going to take a look here. My first equation, it's got to be equal to 0. So I'm going to add 19 to both sides. First step. 3x squared plus 12 equals 0. Okay, now it's equal to 0. Next stop. Does it have a middle term? No, it doesn't. Square root method. Move the 12 over to the other side and isolate x squared. So this is negative 12. Divide by 3, and you get x squared equals negative 4. Okay, square root of both sides. That means this side becomes x. Now, negative 4 is 2, 2, and negative 1, right? So I bring a 2 out, and I bring an I out. Nothing's left under the radical, so it's just 2i, plus or minus 2i. And I'll put my solutions, 2i, negative 2i. Always two solutions with the square root method. Okay, over here, it's already equal to 0, so that's cool. And I will set up an x to try to factor it. Factors of 3 that add up to negative 6. There aren't any. So I give up on factoring at this point, and I move on to the quadratic formula. Okay, so this has a middle term, so square root method was not even an option here. I should have said that. Okay, so I'll say, okay, a is 1, b is negative 6, c is 3. And I'll put the numbers into the quadratic formula, which will be provided. You have negative b, so that's 6 plus or minus b squared minus 4 times 1 times 3 all over 2a. So 2 times 1 is 2. To my calculator I go to type in this just as it appears. Ooh, squared. Negative b squared. Okay, so I'll do negative 6 squared minus 4 times 1 times 3. 24. So 6 plus or minus 24. Oops, square root 24 over 2. I'll come over here and make a birthday cake for 24. 2, 12, 2, 6, 2, 3, 3, 1. Pair of 2's. Now, this is a positive 24, so no I involved with this problem. A pair of 2's means I bring out a 2, and what's left inside is 6 over 2. Okay, here we are again with a problem that can be simplified a little bit more. 6, 2, and 2. You can't touch this 6, but 6, 2, and 2, I can divide all those by 2, so I will. And this becomes 3 plus or minus 1 square root 6 over 1. And that you can write a little bit better. You can just write 3 plus or minus the square root of 6. So my first answer is 3 plus the square root of 6, and the second is 3 minus the square root of 6. Done. Okay. Next, I look at this quadratic. It's not in standard form equal to 0, so I have to move things around. I got to add 4x to both sides, and I got to subtract 5 from both sides. Now this side's going to be 0, and there's no like terms over here, so I'm just going to put it in standard form. 2x squared plus 4x minus 5. Okay, I'll set up an x. Factors of negative 10 that add up to 4. I'm stuck again. There are no factors of negative 10 that add up to 4. So, quadratic formula, a equals 2. Can you tell that I don't really enjoy doing the quadratic formula? I'll be very honest. I like factoring. Okay, there's a, b, and c. There are no factors, right? Yeah. Too bad. Okay, there's my a, b, and c. And now I'll put the numbers into the quadratic formula. I have negative b, so negative 4 plus or minus b squared minus 4 times 2 times negative 5. Go to my calculator, and I'll do 4 squared minus 4 times 2 times negative 5. 56. Ooh. All over 2a. I'm getting ahead of myself here. All over 2a. 2 times 2 is 4. Okay. negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 56 over 4. Got to simplify 56. 2, 28, 2, 14, 2, 7, 7, 1. Pair of 2's. Bring a 2 out. Negative 4 plus or minus 2 square root 14 over 4. Same idea. All of these numbers are divisible by 2. Divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2. So that's negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 14 over 2. I'll write those as two separate numbers in my solution. That's how I like to write it. Negative 2 plus the square root of 14 over 2. Negative 2 minus the square root of 14 over 2. Okay. God, hope the next one's factorable. All right, subtract 15. You got to set it equal to 0. 5x squared minus 23x minus 10 equals 0. Set my x. Factors of negative 50 that add up to negative 23. Woohoo! Negative 25 and 2. Divide by the leading coefficient. If you're going to use magic x, so this becomes negative 5 over 1 and 2 over 5. So there's my factors. 1x minus 5 and 5x plus 2 equals 0. Mini equations. See why I like factoring so much more? So much easier than all of this. X equals 5. X equals, 5x equals negative 2. So x equals negative 2/5. 5 negative 2/5. Okay. And on we go. All right, here's one of those like we had on the first page, or like the one that we had for the warm-up today. I'm going to use the square root method to solve this one. So I'm going to move 18 over first, and then take the square root of both sides. Oh, I started doing that too quickly. Take the square root of both sides. After you move the 18 over, then take the square root of both sides. Okay, the square root of this side's easy to do. Square root of x plus 4 squared is just x plus 4. That side's done. I have to work to get the square root of negative 18 done. But I'm going to make a birthday cake for 18. So I do 2, 9, 3, 3, 3, 1. Okay, pair of 3's. Now, it's negative 18. So I'm going to bring a 3 out, but I'm also going to bring an I out because factors of negative 18 are 2, 3, 3, and negative 1. I'll bring an I out. What's left inside is 2. And this is plus or minus because I get 2 solutions when I'm doing the square root method. Now move the 4 over by subtracting it. And you get negative 4 plus or minus 3i square root 2. Negative 4 plus 3i square root 2. Negative 4 minus 3i square root 2. All right, set this one equal to 0. Subtract 4x. Now I'm going to make sure I put that in the right place. This should be x squared minus 4x minus 21 equals 0. Has to go in the middle, has to be in standard form. X squared term, then the x term, then the number, whole number. Okay, factors of negative 21 that add up to negative 4, negative 7, and 3. Now, this is a standard problem, right? Because this is a 1 here, so I don't need to do any magic in my magic x. I just take those factors right over here. X minus 7, x plus 3. Make my mini equations. Two solutions. Ah, that's a 3. Okay, there's page 3.